Go.
Welcome, everyone, to Whip Finish Wednesday. It is that time, and we're at that place, and we are excited for everyone to hop on tonight with us. As always, on the other side of the computer over here, we have Katie that is joining us from way over there. So everyone say, hey, Katie.
Hi.
We have a fun night planned today. Katie and I have been burning up the roads. What's up, Ed? Burning up the roads. We got back from Edison last week or 2 days ago, Monday evening. And Friday, I am going to grab John Christopher and we're going to head down to the Atlanta Fly Fishing Show. So we're really excited to see everyone down there. What's up, Freddie? It's good to see you and Ed at the Edison show. And Bill, Mr. Brashears, awesome seeing you on here. What's up, Joel, Al, and Mr. Penny? Evening. We've got a fun pattern to tie tonight. This is one that you can really be as creative as you want to, just like all of them, but you can make this however you would like. Hello, Christine. I'm here well, Ken, I'm glad that you could break away from your job for a few minutes in Australia to say hello. I'm glad you hopped on. But before we get started on tying, what we're going to do is where we did giveaways once a week, every couple of weeks, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to do a giveaway every time we hit the next 100 until we get 1,000 subscribers. And then the 1,000 subscribers, we're going to have a giant giveaway, probably with at least $500 worth of stuff, maybe more. But we are close to 500. So once we hit 500, we've got another fly box, nothing fancy. But when we were talking with Patrick Smith, who won last week, and Freddie got his fly box at Edison. Patrick's is going to hit the mail tomorrow because I had to put some flies in it. He requested, well, Joel, thank you. And if you want to see some pictures from Atlanta, shoot us a message Saturday. We'll send you some pictures from Atlanta. Hey, Jim, happy Groundhog Day evening. I didn't know it was Groundhog Day evening. But what we're going to do.
February 2nd.
Hey, Todd. Thanks for hopping on. What we're going to do, so we got this fly box. You can see there's 3 flies in here. These are the ones that I was tying just now in preparation for the Atlanta show. This is the fly that I want to tie at the Renzetti booth. So we put that in there. We'll also put the flies that we tie live and maybe a few extra ones in here. So you'll get the fly box plus the flies. So if it takes a month for us to hit 600, then the next fly box will have more flies in it. Hey, Patrick, we're just talking about you. What's up, Mark? Looking forward. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. So if we hit 500 by next week, we'll go ahead and give this one away, and it'll have probably at least half a dozen flies in it. And then we'll start it over again. Once we hit 600, we'll have even a fly box with even more flies in it. So in order to enter, you know what to do. Use hashtag WhipFinishWednesday over on Instagram when you post your variation of this fly. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It's actually encouraged not to be the exact same thing. Be creative. Use your imagination. Use hashtag WhipFinishWednesday, and that will put your name in for the drawing. You may also comment on these videos, and that puts your name in the drawing. I think Ken, who's our Australian buddy, he won by just commenting. So that's pretty cool. What's up, Mike and Randy? So, Katie, am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
All good? Well, do you want to show some pictures real quick, or do we want to wait on that?
I'd love to show some pictures today. So let's start with some of our wintry stonefly winter. What was it?
Winter stonefly.
Winter stonefly. Okay. So
keep it simple.
This is Bill's version.
Brashear.
And if I missed some ones, I'm sorry. I apologize. But we've also have Christine Gonzalez And D Bishop 32 submitted 2, and I thought they're both really cool looking, so I put both of them up there.
That's a really good one from Dawn. That photograph is great.
We also have Deb. Good photograph too. I like the background.
Yeah, Deb.
And Jimmy Roop. Joel W. House with the really cool feathers in the background. Jay Wilson.
Oh, Jill. Mike.
Matthew McGraw. And did I miss anybody?
Maybe.
I might have, but those are the ones that I got for the winter stonefly, with the different black variations and uses of feathers. So they all looked awesome.
Cool.
Really cool.
All right. Well, Mark, you're right. Katie is looking like a boss back there. And MD Trout Bum. I always thought that Michael was a doctor, but it's Maryland Trout Bum. What's up, Truman and Chris? Thank you for hopping on.
Truman, I loved your reel.
Yes. Sorry you broke your
You were just so stoic and very blunt and upfront.
And we love you.
About the treacherous moments of fly fishing.
That's right.
It was great.
So let's I hope everyone can see right now. But we'll go ahead and hop on and we'll show you what we're going to tie. I'm going to clean my glasses real quick. Katie, will you put it on the device here? Okay, so this is the one that we posted today. Here's what we're going to be tying the first variation. This is a size 16. See, it's got the good CDC in there, little deer, little dubing, and stripped Peacock Quill. So we're going to plop this one out of the vise and put it here so I don't lose it in case we want to throw it in that box. Actually, we'll throw it in that box. I think Truman's already got a new pair. All right, so the hook we're going to use is this. Which way you want to do it, honey? Okay, it's this the Ahrex Freshwater 527 in size 16. This is a new hook for them. This is their big gap dry barbless. It's almost like a clink hammer hook. If you don't have this hook, that's totally fine. You can use a light wire scud hook. You can use anything that's got a good curve to it, or an emerger hook. That will be fine. So we'll throw this in the vise. And this being a sulfur, or you do it for PMD, I'm going to use Primrose 12-aught classic wax thread, and should be good on that. So I'm always talking about where you start the thread is important because it's kind of like a marker for you. So that should be good. But on these curved shanks, it can be a little more difficult because see how the thread will slip. So I want to start my thread basically where I want the body to end. So I want obviously the shuck body to go from roughly here all the way up to here. So all up to here. And there's the dog making a noise. So I want to start my thread here and work it down and start my body that way. So we'll hook our thread around and hold it down. We'll get kind of one loose wrap there. It's got sliding around. And once we cross it over a couple times, and I'm not putting those thread wraps right on top of each other, just one layer of thread. Now we've got it going down nicely. And there we go. Scissors would be nice. So now I'm going to go all the way down. What's up, Rocky? That's over about there. Now we're going to work our thread back up. I'm not worried about building a tape or anything. I just want this nice and smooth with side-by-side wraps. Just like this, right, Katie? Not like so. Now I've got some Sparkle Emerger yarn. So all this is just brown Sparkle Emerger yarn on sulfurs, I found that contrasting color, a reddish, a rusty color works real well, but a darker color for the shuck works nicely. And on like bluing olives, on most other things, I like going with more of a dun color. So I got the brown here. You can see the dun color of the Sparkle Emerger yarn. And the reason that I like to use a Sparkle Emerger yarn on this is because this is not a floating material. It shines. It's got a nice do a little pinch wrap to get this started. It's got a nice like glimmer to it. Yep, I said glimmer. Maybe I should have said shimmer. It's got a nice sheen. There we go, all the way down, all the way to that last thread wrap. And I want to start getting my body smooth, so I'm going to hold my thread. Let's switch it over to the side camera here, honey. So now I've got my thread held right here. See, I've got just finished wrapping, I pulled out some thread. I'm holding like this, and I'm just going to spin my bobbin. There we go. Thank you, Katie. What I'm doing is I'm flattening it out. So that way when I go back up, it'll be just a little bit flatter. And I'm not going to create the bumps and stuff that you would if it was corded up. Hope that made sense to everyone. Anyone having audio issues? Well, Al, it sounds like you're having audio issues. Are you the only one? That's the question. Is anyone else having audio issues? So I'm going to bring my thread back down. So all I've done so far is tied in my shuck and gone down, back up, tied, and yeah. Audio's good. Cool. Double arms had to be signed out and back in. Mine must be mine. Okay. So one of the neat things, you were talking about bobbins, Truman. So since we're talking bobbins just for a second. So when we went to Edison, I ordered one of the new, because y'all were asking about it. So updating my ends, so close out and reopen. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see, but I can see y'all's comments. So hopefully everyone else is working pretty well. So I ordered the new Timco, oh gosh, what's it called? The ceramic bobbin Evo. So this one right here, just to try out. And here's their standard bobbin they've had out for a long time. So you can see that the feet, or whatever these guys are called, they're updated and they're almost identical to the double arm bobbin. See how they're very similar. The gauge of the wire looks a touch thicker than the double arm, but it looks identical to this, basically the same. And of course, you don't have like this shrink wrap tubing. You've got a nice little metal grippy thing. So you can't move the tube up and down like you can a double arm bobbin, but it's roughly half the cost. I'm still using it to tell you 100% yes or no or anything, but jury's still out. So far, it's really good. I hope that's what you're talking about when you said double arm. Who knows? All right, so now I'm going to move over to the strip Peacock Quill. This is fluorescent yellow. And one of these days we'll get with the program and strip our own, but not today, Grace. I'm going to just run it through my mouth real quick. No big deal. I've got all these fuzzies right here. Let's see if you can see it. I'll move this here. There we go. See the little fuzzy part? Yeah, you can't see it. Cut it off. And we've got our quill here. Let's go back to the hook, please, ma'am. So I'm going to take it like this and capture it with a loose wrap to make sure we have it going just where we want it. I'm going to do that same thing, flatten my thread out just a bit. And now I'm going to do touching side-by-side wraps. I want this to be very smooth. And it's totally fine if that wraps around. just like this. I go a little farther than you think you might need to go. Now we've got nice and flat. Build a little bit of a taper because the peacocks don't have any taper at all. So any taper that you want in your fly needs to be built prior to prior to that. I'm going to turn this off. See if I can start this over again. Okay, so now we will take our hackle pliers. Yep. And I did leave the, oh, what's the word? I did leave my shuck long. Take my bobbin, put it in the cradle, just like this. So let's switch back over to the hook. And now we're just going to go up and wrap her up. This is where you have to stick your tongue out just a little bit. You got to kind of hold your breath every now and then, but not too much. And just don't get carried away. And that looks just about good right there. Just for the fun of it, we'll do one more little wrap. So now we've got our body wrapped up. Easy day. Got one wrap in there. Pull it tight. And that's one nice thing about the this 12-aught classic wax thread is you don't have to worry about building too much bulk. Put a couple extra wraps in there just to make it make it fun. I'm going to Katie, will you look at this right here while I'm tying 4-5 See if you can get this to get back live so I can see. Maybe that'll work. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Okay, so now we're just going to put a little resin on here and get this one moving. I'll do this kind of quick. That's way too much resin. And right now I'm using the Gulf Thin Man. I am almost out of it. Maybe I can find some more resin when I am in Atlanta. Who knows? So I'm just taking my bodkin and just kind of run it, making sure I've got nice and smooth. Once I do, I'll drag the resin off that I don't need. Spin it around and get my trusty napkin out. Oh, thank you, Truman. You're the man. And speaking of, what's up, Michael? And speaking of Instagram, for those of y'all that are watching on the old YouTube, if you haven't subscribed, we would really appreciate your subscription. It helps us out tremendously. All right, so this should be pretty well baked on here. So the key thing with this is don't get too caught up in this body. This could be a dubbing body. This could be a biot body, and that's the next one we're going to do is a really cool biot color. This could be a biot body. This could be pretty much anything you want, as long as it's not going to like sink or float super high. So we'll take our shuck, cut it off, and now we're good. Are we good so far? Everyone on Instagram, hello. Sorry that you are late to the show. My fault. We'll zoom us in a bit here so you can see the fly we're working on. And Ryan, nice to see you hopping on. Okay. If you're on Instagram, if you would like to see better, hop over on YouTube and you'll be able to see what I'm doing right now. And as Freddie said, y'all, please smash the thumbs up for these two. For who too, Freddie? So now I'm going to take my deer hair, and this is all just regular old all-purpose deer hair. And we did a YouTube video a little while ago on stacking deer hair, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, but I've got a small little piece here, which is way too much. You don't need to worry about, oh, me and Katie, Freddie says. Thank you, Scoober Doober. Over on, what's up, Rich? Awesome seeing you hopping on, Rich. You guys need to look at, come over on YouTube. Trust me, you can see 1,000,000 times better, like at least 1,000,000 times better. All right, so I've got my little hair stacker here. I'm gonna give it a little run for its money. Put a little bit of thread on the body here, just so we've got something to work with. And let's see how much we've got. Make sure we don't have any broken tips. It's way too much. So this is more, I mean, this is going to help with the flotation ability, but this is not a like a caddis, like an elk hair caddis anyway. If you did the wing too long, it'd definitely be a caddis, but this is not meant to solely hold up the fly. We've got all that good CDC on there. Well, thank you, Mark. You're absolutely right. The comments and everything. So comment on the video after it's posted. Like the video after it's posted. We appreciate all your support. You guys are totally awesome. Totally, totally awesome. So got a little, for those of you on Instagram, here's a little teeny bit we got going on. I'm going to measure it. So remember, this is a mayfly. This is not a caddis. We could easily make it a caddis, but we want a nice little short wing. So I'm just going to grab, kind of do a little measurement here, figure out where I want it. Got my little bunch here. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to cut it right there, but over my thing. So now I'm going to twist my thread so it's corded up, so it's going to bite into this hair really quick. What's up, Keisha? Nice to see you hopping on. Looks like the boys are out of school and tying up some top secret midges. And oh, let me get this wing wrapped in. That reminds me. So I got one wrap, two wrap, pull tight. See how it kind of flared a little bit? I'm going to run our thread through his butt ends. It's about 3 times, and that's it. So you can see just a little small little wing. Nothing fancy. That could even be a little bit long. But I'll switch over to the main camera. I did get 2 goodies. Really didn't buy much at the fly fishing show in Edison, but I did pick up 2 really cool goodies. Mama Angler reminded me. I've got Pat Dorsey's new book. So if you want to know what we're going to be tying out of in the near future, we've got Pat Dorsey's new book here. The favorite flies for Colorado. Boom. And this is one I'm really excited about. Jake Vilwalk. If you all know him, he's a smallmouth master up in the Northeast. He's got a lot of patterns in here. His roamer is a really cool fly. It's really it's a bigger one. Oh, stay fly. See, now those of y'all who have not are still on Instagram and haven't switched over to YouTube, Rich with Stay Fly New Jersey just switched over, and he's like, holy cow, it is a lot better. So thank you, Rich. So this is a new book for us. We're excited to tie some of Jake's flies. And the UV Scud, apparently we'll be fishing that with Pat's crew in June. So we'll be tying that one for sure. Okay, enough of that. So back to the fly. I've got a little wing in there. I'm going to use the Nature Spirit Beaver Dubbing Plus. So I've got this in sulfur orange. I'm going to take my scissors through the hole in the bag. Pull this out. I just need a teeny bit. Don't need much. How much, Katie?
Just a teeny bit.
Just a teeny bit. Stick that back down in there. And this is a pretty easy fly, especially if you're not yapping your jaw the whole time. Pattern for the Eastern Sierra. Yep. Yeah, Mark, you do. And I saw. Okay, so I was really pumped while I'm wrapping this dubbing that Mark bought the Umpqua fly tire kit that I've got behind me. And yeah, that's exciting. I always get nervous when people buy stuff that out off of a recommendation for me, but I was like, well, cool. And it broke. Like, well, the snaps broke off of it. And like with it, how long did it take you to get a replacement or get it fixed, Mark? Because I was talking to the guys at Umpqua this weekend and they were pretty pumped. They knew who you were. It did not take long. See, Rich, now you got all your buddies here now. Emilio, good job. And I always forget to turn Instagram on, and this is why. So everyone on Instagram, if you're still on Instagram, check it out on the YouTube. It's a bit better. It's almost okay. I'm going to build up just a little bit of a ball, and I'm going to brush this out. There we go. So you see now I got a nice little ball. So you see I've got that chunky there. Let's get a piece of Velcro and we're going to smooth it out. Because that Beaver Plus, A, it floats, which is kind of cool. And B, see all that really cool sparkly stuff? And see how that ball's not as ball-y anymore? For those of y'all who are hanging out with me in Edison, this is a prime example of me spending way too much, like making a simple fly complicated. You don't really need to go through all that. Just throw something on. Okay, so just for the heck of it, come here, Miss Casey. Good. Is everyone saying the same thing? Are y'all making fun of me? So I'm going to use a CDC Puff on this one, and the next one I'm going to use just a regular CDC feather. But we're going to grab a Puff. This one's light yellow. You can use dun, use whatever color you want. I'm grab by the stem. Pull it down. Don't forget the grammars. The grammars. Greg Linney, who's another Australian friend, just said, don't forget the grammars.
The grammars?
Yes.
The Instagrammers.
Oh, the Instagrammers. Well, Greg, the cool thing is a lot of the Instagrammers are coming over on YouTube. They're saying, oh my gosh, it's a lot better. Either that or they're making fun of me. I don't know. Even Ryan. So Mark said a couple emails with Matt from Umpqua. I don't know who that is. And they took care of me. Cool. So I've got my Puff here. All it is, I grabbed it by the tip right here. I've got the tip kind of pulled out, grab it, and now I can kind of pull it all like this. And I've got my little poof. Now I can measure it out. I want it roughly the same length as those tips. Keep it right on top of the hook shank. Spin it up, spin out the bobbin just a bit. See, Greg is a coffee roaster in Australia, which is really cool. But he usually is roasting coffee while he's watching us, and he's a big watcher. He likes to watch it on his phone, and for whatever reason, it is easier for him to do it that way. So that's why Greg's on Instagram. So this puff is so thick, if I cut some of it off right there, it'd be okay. But I didn't. Not yet, anyway. I'm still holding my breath. Okay, so now we've got that little bit of wing, the deer hair wing, and our big CDC Puff. I'm going to work my thread back to clean this area up just a little bit. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. I'm going to turn it over and look at the bottom, make sure my thread is basically in line with where that dubbing is. Like that. Okay. Now remember, we're not going to crowd the head. So you see I've got about an eye length right here to work with. That's the rest of the real estate that I've got. So it's a good thing I don't have much to do. I'm going to grab my Beaver Plus dubbing one more time. And this is enough for about 5 of these flies. Twist this on there. Just want this kind of tight. I'm not going to brush this out. I'm frugal, so I'm going to put this back. Is anyone, or I know a lot of you are actually on here right now, who all is going to be in Atlanta while I spin this up? And while I'm doing that, we were talking about the giveaways and the way we're going to do it, where when we hit 500, we'll do another giveaway, which will probably be next week or so. But we have a new product we probably will be giving away, and that is coffee from Angler's Coffee. Have you all tried Angler's Coffee yet? If you haven't, I'm sorry. If you have, then you'll be like, sweet. Okay, so I've got a scrap piece of CDC sitting here because I don't need much. It's just like a scrap one that I already cut the tip out of. Oh, Keisha is not going to be there, but you're going to be in Denver. So that, hey, that's a really good one. Katie and I were there about 4 years ago at that show. That's definitely a good one. But especially at the new facility, it's going to be even better. All right, so I'm going to put it in a clip, but let's just say you don't have a clip, because we don't all have clips. I always use my clips, but Ryan said the coffee's good. Ed said the coffee's good. Freddie said coffee's good. All right, so let's pretend like we don't have a clip. If you do, you put it in there, cut it out. I'm going to just kind of make sure that the fibers are going this way and that way. Set that down. Pull my thread out. Split it. So all I'm doing to split it right now is taking my bodkin, and that's going to flatten out the thread. You see my bobbin spinning? That's untwisting the thread as I pull it towards me. So doing that a couple times, so my thread gets really flat. And doing this when you're looking straight down in a bright light is difficult, but hey. So I'm going to take this and hold it like, so you can see the stem. Shove that in there. And now that it's in here, let's see if you can see, I can manipulate it a bit. And I'm going to take my longer scissors, that way I don't have to make 2 cuts. Let's cut this stem out so I don't have to cut around the stem. And y'all, we all need to say, we miss you, Gary. But he is probably on a plane right now. Next show will be in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Oh, what show is that? Jeff Rowley's going to be there. Jeff's going to be going crazy. This will be his 2nd time in Atlanta, and he's pumped. You can see I'm just letting this spin. Once I pull this, let go here. And Instagram, Sean Holsinger. Please, Sean, since you're watching, and since you're a good Edison buddy of mine, come over, watch us on YouTube. Tell us what you think about YouTube Live with the different cameras. And everyone, we got a party going on over here. And I'm sure a lot of the people here know who Mr. Holsinger is. We didn't get a picture this year. I did better than I've done in years past, but we did not get one with you. All right, so I've got this little loop here. Like I said, if we're in this way too much CDC, but that's okay. I'm gonna pull it back. Start wrapping this around. So you all know the Puff Daddy. We've tied the Puff Daddy before. If you don't know it, don't be too worried. We will tie it again. It's a great fly. So you know how the Puff Daddy's got that good old-fashioned CDC wrapped all around? Well, that's kind of the same thing here. We're wrapping some CDC around. We get my Charlie Craven brush, pop it out. popping tags, if you will. Pull all the CDC. See how it's kind of long. I mean, it's a little too long. Rip that off. And now we've got, that looks really big, but that's a size 16. And that is a true, I feel like it's a true size 16. JB Fly Fishing. Thank you. Jeff, you have to tie a cicada. Okay. So we'll call this one done. And I'm going to put it in our box. It's going to go in the giveaway thing for when we hit 500. Meant Lancaster. Okay. Well, there's a slim chance that I might be in Lancaster, but I don't know if Katie's going to let me go to 2 shows by myself. What do you think, Katie? Oh, put her on the spot.
Oh, I'll think about it. Let's see.
Yeah. I'm just excited that John, Christopher, and I get to go to the show. It is going to be awesome. All right. Make sure that's clear. Okay. Sounds like a yes. Well, the problem is not Katie letting me go or Katie not wanting to go or anything. The problem, we've got the kids, and it really depends on their schedule and whether we can sneak out or not. And if we can, I guarantee we will. So here's our completed CDC emerger. That thing looks super thick, but it is the...
I guess you could say that I'm minding the store this weekend.
Yeah. True.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. All right. So let's pop this in here. And we're going to do a fun one. Another fun one, but a different one. So let's put a size 14. Size 14 in here. And the CDC is kind of one of those things, when you put a ton of light on it, it makes all the fibers just explode. And when we're live like this, I've got an absolute gob of light on my vise. And so in my mind, looking at it on the TV, I was like, oh, that's kind of thick, but it'll be fine. We will be in, I will be in Atlanta with John Christopher, my 10-year-old son, on Saturday, and that is it. We're tying at Renzetti for, we'll tie Renzetti from 10 to 11 and sight cast fly fishing, some salty bugs from 1 to 2. So I'm going to talk, and I'm going to keep doing what I did on the last one. We're changing colors up. We're going to tie one that probably won't work. So I bet y'all can guess what color we're going to do. First one guesses it gets a high five. Yes. So
don't say purple.
Joel asked if this fly requires floatant. So I always use, I started off with Loon Laksha, which is a CDC like a gel. It's for CDC. And then as the CDC flies, high five, Ed. High five, Ryan. Right back at you, Bill. Good job, guys. And then I use a dry shake. The can't think of the name of it now, but the Kamasaka, it's the Tiemco dry shake. But the stuff that's a powder, that's what I use, and it works great. So just kind of refreshing the fly to get soaked. And it doesn't, I don't want to say it'll get soaked. What's up, Langley? Magenta is not magenta. I was talking about you today, Langley.
I like the idea of magenta. That could be cool.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad I don't have any magenta wild turkey biots. All right, we'll get this shuck tied in nice and pretty. We're going to do we'll do an extra material. I'm going to pull out my SemperFli 0.1 millimeter tying wire that I have right here. Right here. Right here. Pull off a little smidgen of that. Because you all know I will use glue if I have to. Y'all want to see something cool? Speaking of using glue. He says not to say purple. Well, let's see, Katie, everyone's listening to you. You said don't say purple, and no one said, or only a few people broke the rules. Langley is a rule follower.
Good job, guys.
All right, so we'll cross this over, and I do have a sample show. Pull that to length. Put a couple wraps in front to lock it in. I'm going to untwist my bobbin again. So you can see, oh, it didn't lock in. I've got to pull this around. Honestly, if I hadn't seen that, it'd been okay. I'm going to bring this down. I want this is how, if you're going to wrap wire in your, what's it called? Your strip peacock quill, this is how you would do it. You'd wrap it on the opposite side. If you're going to wrap wire on turkey biot, this is the way you do it. So, Magpie Turkey Biots. Have you all heard of Magpie Turkey Biots? Everyone on Instagram, what's up? Maldo. You're not Maldo. What is your dang name? Come over and look at us, Steve. Oh, gosh. Like the big Umpqua dude. I cannot think of your name, though. Gosh. You're one of Keisha's buddies. Keisha, come over on YouTube, Maldo. I know you, but I can't think of your... You're at the Streamer Love Fest this week. We're live on YouTube. You'll be so much better. And you'll be able to hear. Steve! I said Steve. That's right. I was right. Except not really. If I was right, I've been like, oh, it's Steve over here, the master streamer tire that was at the Streamer Love Fest. Dang, I apologize. So yeah, come over on YouTube. We're live there, and you'll be able to see a lot better and hear a lot better. And the people, once everyone finally does from Instagram, everyone on YouTube will be happy because they don't have to listen to me say that anymore. All right, so we've got our biot tied in. I kind of want to tie it on the side or a little bit on the bottom, and I kind of failed at that, but in the essence of time, we'll go ahead and wrap this around. So if you remember, see, Keisha, Steve's over here hanging out. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg. You're awesome. So if you remember on the quill, we built a little bit of a taper. On this, I'm not going to because you'll get a little bit of a taper with the biot itself. So let's grab our same hackle pliers and let's wrap this thing up. Sorry about my hand in the way there. So this is, I forgot to even look. Did anyone answer what I said? How many of you all know of Magpie Wild Turkey Biots? Anyone? Anyone?
I don't think they.
So this is a custom color, obviously purple, that Brandon Moon over at Moonlit Fly Fishing had dyed just for him. And these Magpie Biots are the bomb. They are pretty darn stellar. And if you still want to get that code's still active. So if you wanted to get beads or anything from Brandon, you get 10% off using it. WF Wednesday. Well, Jim, I just said, go to Moonlit Fly Fishing. You can go to their website. You can use, and we'll probably put the link on in the description later on. Kay's probably typing out right now in the comment. Go to Moonlit Fly Fishing. Use the code WF Wednesday. And if it doesn't work, just shoot us a note or shoot Brandon a note because it's just because I'm telling you wrong. And that'll give you 10% off. And that's where these biots come from. See how segmented it is, how they just wrap really nice. I was really impressed, and I've got I don't remember how much they were, but I've got two of these. You can see the fancy labeling that I put on there: Moonlit Magpie Wild Biot. And now, because I want some protection on this thing, because I didn't put glue on it. I'm wrapping our wire up to it. And you can really get in the weeds on wrapping the wire, like getting it like really like in the same spot in the quill, especially on these curved hooks like this. Just wrap the darn wire. It'll go where it's supposed to go. And if not, it'll be okay. What brand are the these are Polish quills. All right. So we got, appreciate you both doing this every week. Look forward to seeing you the weekend. Well, thank you, JDD Desraw. Hey, JDD, come over and look on Instagram. I'm glad you love it on YouTube or on Instagram, but come over and look on YouTube, because if you like this on Instagram, you'll love it on YouTube. I promise. So just for the fun of it, let's cut this off. I like that. Cut it long if there's any question that we can cut it shorter. It's really hard to stretch. So now I've got our pretty, really pretty body there. Isn't it nice? Yeah, so we'll say someone said, yeah, that's really nice, John. Super cool. All right, this time, just to show we can use different types of hair, I want to use this X Caddis deer. Now, the key is this is a small, or this is a 14, so actually it's not that small. But let me show you something. Because this will show why buying stuff in person makes all the difference in the world. This came from the same ordering. So let's go back to the side camera here, honey. So the same day I ordered these two, X Caddis deer, I wanted to stock up on it because it is kind of, it can be hard to get. They run out of it really quick. So ordered at the same place, ordered at the same time, same brand, same everything. So let's go to the hook. So let's switch back over to the hook. Poor fab order. Okay, so you see this is the one that I used for my test one. This one right here, which we're going to tie. So you see how thick, and the fibers are actually pretty thin, but you can see what they look like there. The exact same stuff. See these? See the difference? Oh gosh, I can't even hold them up side by side. Those are like twice or at least twice as thin, and obviously these are thicker and longer. So totally different materials. It's just one of the natures of buying natural materials. It's much better to be able to see the material than have to order it. And having someone, and I'd say a lot of you are like Katie and I, where we don't have a fly shop that has a bunch of stuff that we can go look at. Let's switch back over to the side camera, please. I'm wearing Katie out tonight. She's going to shoot me a little bit. All it is, I cut this off. We're going to start preparing this. So I'm going to comb this out. So the key is to have, if you're like us and you don't have a great fly shop that's loaded with materials, then you got to have some good contacts to call, and that way you can say, hey, will you look for this? This is what I'm going to use the deer hair for. While I'm stacking this, if you're on Instagram, Brian Mahoney, good to see you on Instagram. Come over and check us out on YouTube. You'll be able to see better, hear better, and everything else will be great. So I've got my deer hair stacked. Come back over to the hook, and I got one little hair here. Pull it out, and hey, Katie, will you switch us over to the hook, please? So I've got this. See how the black tips are lined up, and it kind of all goes down together. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to measure, get it roughly where I want it. Just make sure I put my fingers off. Remember, don't do these too long. If you do it too long, you got a caddis, which is fine. But we're doing a mayfly. So get roughly where you want it. I'm going to cut it right there. Take my cut ends here, kind of jam it there on the top of the hook shank. right there. So you see how my thread is loose and it just lays right where I want it. If it doesn't, you just spin your thread. Like I've just pulled it down. 1, 2, pull tight. Do 2, 3 wraps through the hair, and now I've got a nice little wing. Now my butts are longer on that one than it was the first one, and that's fine. We're going to run. What color dubbing, honey? Okay, I'll ruin it.
I don't know what color it is.
We're going to do purple dubbing.
I can't see around my computer screen until you pull it up.
So now I'm going to just have this one little bit here. And we'll twist this on. Now, if you guys have made it this far, Freddie has been getting on me because I need to say this more often. If you all have not subscribed to our channel, we'd really appreciate you subscribing. And obviously, we want you asking questions and hopping on with this little crazy bunch, talking about time flies and getting all crazy. But liking the video is awesome. We're here to help. There's some phenomenal fly tires on here. I've learned a lot from you guys, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys have learned a thing or two from us. And it's just a cool little community. We love doing this. And what our payment is seeing you guys tie the flies that we're doing. Can we get back to the hook, please? Sorry, I just put that little ball of dubbing on there. Brian said, be right back. All right, so we got our ball there. Now we're going to switch over to, no, that's not the color. Well, I had it there. There it is. I just thought this Acer, if you did want to make this caddis other than longer ring, what else would you do differently? Probably maybe a little bit thicker thorax. Like long, not necessarily so much thicker because this is pretty thick, but longer is what I mean. So I'll try to fill this up a little bit more. So I'll tie a bigger size. But probably the biggest thing is just doing it longer. And I don't know if I put a shuck on, maybe a hot spot as opposed to a shuck. Then again, it might be good for the little black caddises for here next little bit.
Bring your clip down so we can see it a little bit.
Oh, sorry. What I was doing just now is I've got 3 CDC feathers. I'm just lining up the tips. I'm grabbing a little thing. And so now I've got 3 feathers lined up. Absolutely. What are we absolute? Did I answer your question, Keisha? Just think about those tent wings on the caddis, and usually when I tie a caddis, I put the CDC on the bottom and the deer hair on top because that kind of keeps it laid back. Let's switch back over to the hook. So all I'm trying to do is get these lined up a little bit. I'm not doing a very good job with it. Grief. I keep grabbing the absolutely wrong one. This is where it gets boring. Like watching a guy line up a feather. Okay, we'll call that all right. So normally, now, Bill, that's why you're absolutely right. Hack on the front, but to keep it with this, I would go denser CDC in the front. I would probably put the CDC as an underwing, so down, tie the CDC in first, and then the deer on top, because that'll help it kind of lay down more like the tent wings. What we're trying to do with this is pull this down, pull this to length, check it. It's about right. So what we're trying to do here is develop height, sort of like the mayfly wings. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, how's that look? Looks A-okay. I mean, at the end of the day, Keisha, I think if there's a mayfly or a good caddis hatch going on, and you threw this exact fly the way it is, there's a good chance if you had a good drift, good presentation, right timing, they'd bite it just like this. And Bill's absolutely right. You could put hackle on it for sure. See, got that nice and purdy. Pull this CDC up. There we go. So this will be our purple haze variation of this, whatever the heck. Whatever it's called. But thank you, Keisha. That was a good question. God is talking. I get worried when no one asks a question or no one's making fun of me or just not,
Did you answer what brand are the Peacock Quills?
Yep. I said Polish quills.
Okay.
If it wasn't.
The floatant is called Loon Loksha.
So we'll bring this up. Probably need a pinch more. Just enough. Nope. You're saying okay. Well, if we're on the same page, then and we might have some loon loksha floating around here. Oh, honey. Yes, I did. So what I'm looking at right now is see how there's a little bit of a gap, right? I mean, literally like a thread turn of a gap right here. I want to make sure I fill that in so my thorax is one piece, one chunk there. Instagram, whoever just sent a message, I missed it. So if you'll see it again, I'll try to look. So now we've got it nice and filled in. Okay. So we can pull all this up and see how we're kind of like a mayfly wing, kind of. All right. So now we'll get our, now that one's not going to work. That one should. Get our CDC out. This is just the piece that I just so we're going to reuse. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to flatten out our thread. Do you ever substitute parapost or trigger point fibers to CD? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the poly yarn is a really good, I like the poly yarn or trigger point are my two favorite for this type of thing because the parapost is going to, now I commonly say parapost when I mean poly yarn, but the poly yarn is a lot straighter. The fibers are nice and straight and they're better for for this, but that's just a personal preference. I've got a ton of parapost material as well, and if that's what I had, that's what I would use. Or if that's all I had, that's what I would use. Okay, so let's get our long scissors out again. I'm just trying to show how you can do this without, dang it, without a clip. Just don't cut your thread to this part. There we go. Just like it. Yep, you sure could. I just like the legs and stuff. What can I say? I'm a dork. I like legs. On flies, honey. On flies. Probably should have put some purple thread on, but didn't want to give my grand plan away too quick. So remember, all this stuff you're seeing right now is like the bottom third of one CDC feather. So there's not a, it looks super messy, super chunky, but that didn't really add much to it as far as what you can see. What you can see. It's going to give some legs. It's going to give some movement in the water. And I think that's adding movement as the fly is sitting there. So we twerk this. Good grief for twerking now. When you twerk it around a little bit, that movement attracts the fish. They like that, unless it scares it because you're twerking too much. And if that's the case, then slow your twerking down. I picked my daughter up for school today. I said, "What do you think about this awesome beard I got going on?" She said, "Well, it's better than a lot of the high schoolers that I go to school with." I'm like, "Well, I'll take that as a compliment." There we go. So we'll cut here just to clean that bottom up. So you can see we've got a nice, where'd it go? There we go. Nice little silhouette there. It's going to be easily seen. I love the swagger CDC. Yeah, it is. That's pretty cool. And that under that little bit of deer under there is going to give it some substance. So if you fish a lot of CDC, after a while, like it's delicate. It floats great, but it can be kind of delicate. And just that little bit of deer right there kind of gives it a little oomph. And all this stuff on the sides and everything just gives it lots of movement. And the wing's great. But that's just a cool little bug there. Thank you, Keisha. I'm working on it. So there's our this one's going to go into our giveaway box. And like I've said before, we switch it back over to the main.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So we're going to put the 2 flies we tied tonight in this box, as well as the other 3 caddises that are there. Once we hit 500 followers or subscribers or whatever it's called, subscribers, everyone on Instagram, please hop over and check us out on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now. We've got 4 cameras, 2 microphones, 5 TV, 1, 2, 3, 4 TV. We got lots of stuff over here. It's a lot better than the Instagram feed. You'll see so much better. But I will zoom us out because we're done tying. So we'll, as we're going through, we'll add the flies that we tie live into the box. This will be our giveaway once we get 500 subscribers, and then we'll do it for every 100 subscribers until we hit 1,000 subscribers. Then we'll have a really ginormous big giveaway. Use hashtag Whitfish Wednesday on your flies. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, just something, do your own variation of this fly. Use hashtag Whitfish Wednesday. Comment on the video after we posted it. Ask questions, whatever you would like. Obviously, everyone, we really appreciate you hopping on and asking questions. I will be in Atlanta Saturday most of the day, so hopefully we'll be able to see a bunch of y'all down there. We're looking forward to that as well. Rich,
Truman says no twerking.
No twerking. We will not be twerking. Can't remember what. Oh, pulling the rod and giving that little
Yes.
pump. Rich, good night. Thank you, Rich, for hopping on. It's super cool seeing you on here. I could sit and ramble, and this is where Katie starts saying, "Cut it off." So I'm gonna turn it over to Katie and let her take us out. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next Wednesday night, if not in Atlanta.
You guys have a great weekend. And if you're going to Atlanta or you're going fishing this weekend, have fun and just have fun, whatever you do this weekend. And happy early Groundhog Day. Bye, everybody. See you later.
See you later, Instagram and YouTube.